Hello everyone, welcome to a very special Versus video. I'm Brad Nelson, I'm joined today by...
Brad Nelson.
That is not your name.
It actually is my name.
Oh cool, you had it legally changed?
No, my parents gave it to me when I was born.
You lie.
In North Dakota.
Why are you lying?
28 years ago. I've assumed his identity.
I was gonna think that we were going to have a serious Versus video, but I am with DVD today, so I do have a good story. There was once a raptor that ended up showing the world a Jeskai Ascendancy Fate Stitcher modern deck at the World Championships last week.
Yeah.
And immediately the next day, it was breaking Legacy.
Yeah.
And I ended up playing the Versus video last week, or the Moto video last week, if you took a look, where I 4-0'd with a different version. It was pretty much your the Legacy GP winning deck would just port it over like, we don't need these Stone Forges or these Equipments or these True Names. We'll just put this combo in and call it a day. Add a couple lands, we're good.
Yeah, it's just the exact same spell base.
Yeah, everything's the same.
I mean, obviously that's the correct build for this Jeskai.
Oh, of course, because you broke it without even knowing it.
Yeah,
that your deck actually just is interchangeable. It's like Legos. It's like, we'll take this out, add this, we're good. Now we're just gonna have to find how we just put Pyromancer's Ascension in there.
Yeah, just everything, yeah.
Yep, so instead of being that version with the Young Pyromancer, I wanted to work on the most full-blown combo version of it. And I got a lot of these ideas from Raptor, because he actually was working on a deck like this. And I updated a little bit for myself because he had great ideas, but he also, I don't think, plays enough Legacy to know that you can't play a deck without any way to disrupt your opponent at all. But yeah, let's take a look at this deck because it is awesome. Whew. Yeah, I'm just giving them a second to let it all sink in.
They need to make a mental note.
They do need to make a mental note, yeah. But the problem with that is they lose it eventually.
Oh, okay.
You know, they got it and then they lose it.
It just gets scoured.
It does. It gets scoured away.
Yeah.
But so let's start off with the actual combo for anyone that doesn't know what's going on. With a Jeskai Ascendancy in play, our goal is to either have a Win Zendikon.
Pronounced it correct. This is the first time Brad's pronounced it correctly. I'm
also,
really excited.
It's the first time this card has ever seen any constructed play.
That's true. That is. I'm sure it saw a little bit.
I mean, maybe at F&M.
Yeah.
But and 4 Fate Stitchers. Now, with these in play, especially with this guy because he has haste when you unearth him, you're going to be able to play all of your cantrips, triggering Jeskai Ascendancy, getting cards in your graveyard and untapping them and making them bigger. And as you're comboing off with all your cantrips, you're going to find more copies of Fate Stitchers, get a big board into play, and pretty much just draw your entire deck. Like, this deck can just go from having no resources and like 1 Treasure Cruise and a Fate Stitcher and a Jeskai Ascendancy into you could deck and attack them for like 80 or 90.
Yeah.
To fuel the combo, you have Mental Notes and Thought Scours in place of like the Ponders that these decks normally play, because you're trying to fill your graveyard for your Treasure Cruises and find your Fate Stitchers.
Yeah.
Probe and Brainstorm are still awesome. Also, Brainstorm works wonderfully well with these when you don't have fetch lands. And sometimes a deck like this, sure, if you look over here, we're only playing 17 lands, but we will have pretty much all these in play at one point in almost every game. That we have a potential chance of winning because we're digging so fast through our deck that we don't miss land drops. And so when we don't combo right away, we'll have a ton of these and we might not have fetch land, so we can just go Brainstorm, scour 2 cards away. To protect the combo, we have 4 Force of Wills, 3 Lightning Bolts, and Lightning Bolt looks out of place in this deck, and it really is out of place, but the reason that you have it is Deathrite Shaman beats this combo, the Fate Stitcher side, and after Sideboard, you're gonna have to deal with Canonist, Metal Mages, things anyway.
Yeah.
Also, Thalia beats it, so which you'll see today. Like, I'm not going to be able to beat a Thalia. It'll be really tough for me to beat an actual Thalia without killing it or countering it.
I think you can beat it with like Double Stitcher or something like that, but it takes Thalia is like a double time walk against the deck.
Yeah, it'll be tough to beat. And then 2 back negations when you're going off on your turn. Now, if I don't know if this version is better than Young Pyromancer, but it's a thought experiment, right? Like, Jeskai Ascendancy.
So it's a thought experiment.
It is a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just cameras up. Oh, no, cameras down. We'll just real quick.
Cameras back up.
No, down. down.
All right, cameras down.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 2 Enlightened Tutors help not only find the Ascendancy, but wings Zendikon.
Yep.
But also, I've even tutored for Lotus Petal to combo the next turn because I had it. But I needed the extra mana. Now, this is a great 4th mana, so when you go Fate Stitcher, so what you can do is if you have this in your graveyard, you bring it back, untap the land, cast the Jeskai Ascendancy, and then play Lotus Petal as your 4th land on turn 3, which untaps, lets you loot, and lets you get to 2 mana. So it's a really good spell in this deck. Also, late game, you're going to have a ton of useless lands because you're treasure cruising, that when you cast a Lotus Petal, it just turns into a real card. It turns one of the lands into a real card.
Yeah. Also, it's also nice to be able to tap out for Ascendancy and have 8 free spells.
Yes, exactly.
And then if your opponent, if your opponent tries to interact with you, you can maybe even get more. Like sometimes there might be this song and dance where like, you know, your opponent's like, oh man, I gotta kill this Fate Stitcher, and you're like, sweet, I needed you to cast a spell so I could force a will it, so I could start going off or whatever.
Oh yeah, that happened in the Modern video where I played against Todd, where at one point I just had an Ascendancy in play, but all counters in hand, and I needed to like, you know, start doing something.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thought experiment is this deck is just scratching the surface. Like Jeskai Ascendancy, Fate Stitcher is broken, and we need to find where the homes are. And now this is like the sneak and show version of the deck. Whereas like the version that I played last week that Rich Shea built.
That's the Twin Blade version of the deck.
Yeah, sure. Where you have a plan B, you have the Young Pyromancers to help out. And I'm pretty sure that some version of a plan B is going to be needed, especially after Sideboard. But
especially when people know about the deck too.
Yes, but let's take a look at this Sideboard and then we'll get to battle.
Okay.
So as you see, it's just a bunch of random cards because I don't know how to build this Sideboard yet. I was playing around with this deck and it felt really good, but let's just talk about why some of these cards are here. Surgical is the way that we're going to fight graveyard-based decks, even the Mirror, but we don't have to worry about, you know, like you can't play Gravity's Cage because it like stops your Fate Stitchers.
Right.
We have Wear and Tear to help out against Canonists, Chokes,
Cages,
Counterbalance, Cage. Flusterstorm and Power Blast are
Rest in Peace too,
and Rest in Peace. These cards are just in my sideboard to help me against other combo decks. I don't know if these are actually the right card, but they
probably are.
I didn't have much time. Like I literally played the version last night, and then built the new version at like 3 a.m. and then slept for 4 hours and came here. You know, like, and then I watched some of the World Championship stuff too.
I wish we could just like do like a little transition over to like you in a mad scientist lab wearing like a lab coat.
No. You just have to watch my my Moto video from last week.
Okay.
So you guys we filmed this before it goes up. You know, obviously I did it last night, but I was already in bed and I didn't even do my hair. My hair is just wild. I look like a mad scientist while I'm doing it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the worst I've ever looked.
Hopefully there's like bubbling cauldrons in the background and stuff.
Hopefully someone does that, sure. 4 Meddling Mage to help out against other combo and be our plan B. This plus an Ascendancy can still just like cantrip, 5U, tech cantrip, 5U. Find our ways to protect. And we want to have an anti-combo sideboard because they're probably going to be a little bit faster than us, or their disruption is better because they get like 4 Spell Pierce. Or we don't.
Meddling Mage is also fine against non-combo decks too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about bringing this in certain places. All I'm saying, I mean, pretty much this version of this deck is bad, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think that the Fate Stitcher, Jeskai Ascendancy combo is busted. We already have what looks to be like a pretty concrete like version with the Pyromancers, and we're going to people are going to work on that. But I just wanted to have the thought experiment of what's the most aggressive version you can build of this deck.
Yeah.
Like hard combo. And that's what we're going to see today against a non-force will deck.
Oof.